You call-
Hey everyone, welcome. We are here today with our lender friend Bill Paden from Direct Mortgage Loans. Hey Bill, like I can see from the back of your background, you are in your own vacation spot. You're up in Sholo, aren't you?
I am up in Jolo enjoying the cooler weather. Yes.
Nice. Well, because it's going to be 108 here today. So, but talk about vacation spots and amazing places to live. My friend Scott Martineau is here as well. And Scott gets to live in the paradise called Destin, Florida. Now, if you don't know about Destin, Scott's going to share a little bit about it. But honestly, this place should be on your bucket list if you've never visited. I can't tell you how many friends I know who've gone there and all they want to do is just sell everything they own and go be a beachcomber.
That's what
So,
happened to me. That's what I
exactly,
did.
right? So welcome, Scott. Thank you so much for being here. We totally appreciate you. Um,
Thank you so much.
so share a little bit about, and we'll talk a little bit in a minute about our Phoenix market. But Bill, I don't know about you, really not much has changed in the past few weeks. Like it's
Hold you
kind of
tight,
status
really.
quo. Right? Okay. We may have just finished our conversation because it's nothing's really changed for the past couple of weeks. But anyway, so Scott, share a little bit about Destin and why did you go there and what's the typical draw for people who do move there or they buy second homes there? Like what's kind of the thing?
Sure, sure. Let's just start with geography first, so everybody can get a visual picture in their mind. I'm closer to New Orleans than I am to Orlando, and I'm so far west in Florida. I'm in the central time zone, so that
Oh,
usually blows people in mind right off the bat. I'm below Chicago, so far west that I'm closer. It takes me 3.5 hours to get to New Orleans. Takes me 5 hours to drive to Jacksonville, and 7 hours to get to Orlando. So I'm in the panhandle of Florida. And like I said, central time zone. The reason I got here, I was living in Hermosa Beach, California. Of all the great places in the world, that's one of them. But someone had told me as we started a business up and we wanted to get out of the California structure of business, and we won't get too much into that, but it was a wise move for us to start a business in a state of Florida or another state that didn't have a personal income tax. And we decided to search the whole country, searched Pensacola and Gulf Breeze, and thought this was perfect. And then someone told us to come to Destin, Florida, because it looks like this. And I went across that bridge that's right there. And
yeah.
I came across the bridge 21 years ago, in just a couple of weeks, 21 years ago. And I went, I won't say the words I used. I said some words that were a mountain of like, I could not believe that the Bahamas existed here in the United States. That's what that looks like right now. Like literally today, that's what it looks like. That's not an hand picture. I came across from Hermosa Beach and looked at that white sand, looked at the green water and said, I have to move here. This is fantastic. I moved here 3 months later and have been taking advantage of the low property taxes or no property taxes, the great quality of life here, those beaches and that water. I grew up on the water in Minnesota, so I'm partial to that view. And everything that you've heard about this area is true. It looks like this, it feels like this. Our season, so you know, is really very similar to you guys. It's for us, it's May 31st to September 1st for our season of visitors. Then the
Hmm.
other 9 months of the year, it's pretty quiet. I have 14,000 residents in the city of Destin, but 200,000 people come each week during the summer months. So, for the purpose of our discussion today, I have a serious STR property management business going on all the time. So, we're doing real estate, but the play here is to have your vacation property paid for by the 90 days of summer by other people, right? Coming from Nashville, coming from Atlanta, coming from Dallas or Houston, driving over, having summer vacation because the kids are out of school. And then by September 1st, our place is empty and the rest of us start to enjoy it. Then we invite Christie and Bill over and we go walking up in the beaches because no one's there. But
That's amazing.
otherwise, it looks a little crazy during these June, July, and August. But it's a perfect place to do a vacation property for your second home, have it paid for, and have a great place for you for the other 9 months of the year.
That's absolutely cool. Bill, have you ever been to Destin?
I have not.
I
I've
know I
only been
haven't either, but
to
I think
Florida
it's like
once.
next on my list for sure, right? But Bill was a swimmer at Arizona State University, so Bill, maybe you could do laps out there.
Yeah, yeah, right.
That'd be kind of
Back
nice.
in my prime, not anymore.
Just you and the
I'm sure you
dolphins.
still know how to float, buddy.
Just, just you and the dolphins, Bill. They'll be out there.
Oh,
How's the surf
dolphins.
out there? That's the real question.
Yeah, yeah, I'll share with you. It's not trestles. It's not any place, out in the West Coast. It's not that. But there's a little break. not too far east from here. Little break, but this would be training because it's the Gulf of Mexico, or as we call it now, the Gulf of America. It's a little break out there, but this is much more about just enjoying that unbelievably warm water and nice water. We
Mm.
had three
Yeah.
three little beach reefs as you go out. So the break isn't great. One place, all the surfers congregate, and it's a okay break, but much more training. This would be training wheels for anybody who's.
Gotcha.
See, so therefore it would fit us perfectly because we don't do surfing.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that'd be ideal.
If you can,
It's been a while for me. But it's like getting on a bicycle, right?
Yeah, there you go.
right.
Well, so let me ask you this, Scott, because I know I've had discussions, between Phoenix and Florida. It's a common question because because we're both in that sun belt,
Yep.
people, especially during COVID and after COVID, when people were not going back to their offices, they decided to move to places they vacationed a lot because they
Mhm.
wanted a different lifestyle. And so Phoenix and Florida and Texas, they got a lot of people moving there for a lot of financial reasons too, cost of living.
Yes.
And for us, for Phoenix, people come to us a lot because of we don't have natural disasters, right? We don't have tornadoes or floods. It's very rare. We may have some of these, but they're so rare.
Right.
No earthquakes. I remember one time I was showing a house and this guy walked in and looked at a water heater. He's like, "Where's the water heater strap?" I go, "Strap." He goes, "Yeah." So in the earthquakes, he goes, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah, we're not in California anymore, buddy.
You
You
don't
don't
have
get those
that.
out here." So Phoenix is a high. People move here often, right?
Yep.
Florida, you can't beat those beaches. You have a whole entire peninsula full of beaches and coasts, and that's a completely different lifestyle that people don't really necessarily put the priority on insurance, or that's more of the piece that they're just like, I need to live by that beach, I need to be over here. So share
Yep.
with me a little bit, because I know I've had some conversations with folks who are concerned about, well, I'm not going to get insurance if I go to Florida. My house is going to be taken away. But I was even looking at some properties on realtor.com, and like some of them have been there since like 1952. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, not every house gets demolished in Florida. So share a little bit with me and Bill, how is it really there? Like what's really happening? What's the condo market like? What's the insurance situation like? Give me some of that information.
Sure. And we're talking about this in, June of 2025. I would say 3 years ago, we went through the insurance difficulty that everybody else did with the reinsurance companies not wanting to give business to the insurance companies. And so everybody raised the rates. Now, that started 3 years ago. We went through all the difficulty, all the convulsions, all the hardship 3 years ago with insurance companies not wanting to insure or raising rates so high that it was problematic for some people. We seem in all of the Florida market, whether it's down south or up north, we're through most of that already. And in fact, starting to see some easing in the property insurance market, a little bit of 2 or 3 or 4% give back in this year's renewals versus 2 or 3 years ago. That would be the headline from this discussion today, is that we're on the other side of it. The reinsurance market is strong. The insurance market is strong. Of course, the rates are higher, but everybody's getting insurance. The
Mm.
headline on the other side of the myth of headline is, if we still go back to Surfside building down in Hollywood, Florida, collapsing, that is still reverberating through most of the South Florida condo market, because they're all still trying to find out if their COA, their condo association, was properly reserved, was properly maintaining the property. And in some cases, if the building, this only applies to buildings and condos that are 25 years or older, they have to do a milestone assessment to make sure that the property itself is great, that Bill can lend on it because it's a valuable property, that it's not underinsured, that it doesn't have structural problems. That is what's been going on the last 2 years. And almost all of those properties that are 25 years old or longer that are vulnerable had to have had a milestone inspection, have to have said whether they've passed, and have to have said, if they haven't passed, what are the structural improvements that they're doing. All that has to be done. And this is the part that gets them. They had to reserve properly now, where they probably didn't have to worry about that too much 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Now we're on the other side of that. And what you hear in the South Florida market is they have $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 assessments, right?
Wow.
If you had a $600,000 condo and you have a $120,000 assessment, and you're retired, what you going to do? That's causing a disruption in some of the South Florida high density condo markets as they figure out what they have to do. That's probably the headline and maybe the dirty little secret that goes on in South Florida because they're more densely populated with 25-year or older condos.
Mm.
It's like Destin, Florida, didn't exist too well 50 years ago. It was barely a piece in the sand. 25 years ago, we do have a few properties that are in that. They've gone through their milestones and gone through their assessments. And all across Florida, these are the things that have had to have been addressed since the Surfside collapse, and appropriately so. The COAs have to do a good job of governance, right? They have to do a good job of making sure it's insured, make sure it's structurally sound. We seem to be on the other side of it, but the repercussions in some places are you have a $600,000 or $800,000 condo that you've owned for 25 years and you're getting a $125,000 assessment. If you're a seasoned realtor, you know where those are in your marketplace. They scream loudly, right? It's not hard for a seasoned veteran to kind of understand where that is. And then even in a small market like us, it's not that hard to find those places. Avoid the ones that are not financially sound. On the other hand, Christy and Bill, sometimes there's opportunities in those. If
That's
someone,
what I was
Mhm.
thinking. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't reject them in any way. I look at them and say, does it make sense? And are they doing the right thing? Can we get it financed? Or is there an opportunity for a cash buyer here that the finance people are all having to say no? So you do get some opportunities in these, and that's what you have to look for. You have to be kind of seasoned and be a veteran. You have to have some financial understanding to know what is a red light, what's a green light, what's a yellow light. So I would say for the insurance market, we're on the other side. From the condo and assessment market, we're on the other side. But in overall, right now, our market is very similar. That's a great kiss. That was a good
I
little
know.
hug.
That's adorable.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
that was
want to
my
hug.
sorry. That's my youngest coming out.
Stop.
No worries. Well, can you write a loan for us? Is he qualified?
My oldest can. He could originate a loan in a heartbeat.
That's hilarious. So let me ask you this, Scott. It sounds like there's opportunity, but I'm going to assume then the short-term rental market is also pretty strong there because people who kind of are trying to think about going there, they probably go a few times. So I would assume, based especially on what you said about your being busy in the STR market, that that's still an opportunity. Like there's still
Yeah.
people buying where you are and people
Yes.
vacationing where you are. If 200,000 are coming in every summer.
Yeah, this looks like Palm Springs to the people in California. This looks like Flagstaff to people in Phoenix. Everybody from Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis, Dallas, and Houston drive here. Mine's a drive-to market. Dads all know how much money it takes to put them fill up the Suburban, throw the kids in the back, and drive. Every
Mhm.
dad's probably done that. For their parents probably took him here too. So we are an STR market. The only thing that I would say right now is that if you do the numbers, and I always do, if you look at the asset appreciation, we're going to be fine. The asset's going to appreciate from a cash flow standpoint right now with a 7.5, maybe 8% interest rate and 20 to 30% down. That financed buyer is not looking great on the cash flow. That's going to be a yellow line or possibly a red line for the first year in terms of cash flow. Asset appreciation is probably going to put it up. So my financed market for STRs is very quiet and maybe similar for the similar reasons to you guys in Phoenix, that it just doesn't work from a cash flow with a lending partner at 7 or 8%. If it's at
Unless it's just bonus because you do want to buy it and have it for yourself and don't mind just supplementing everyone's, because we have a property up in Sholo like that. Like we have it for ourselves, but we'll rent it out just to supplement if we can. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's because we enjoy it up there, right? So
yeah,
similar thing, like
Mhm.
if you want your second home there and don't mind every once in a while, if you're not going to be there, rent it out. You may make a payment or half a payment for the. Why not? That's just extra money in your pocket. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think I think we're learning more about lifestyle now and harmony in our lives than we have in the past couple of years,
yeah,
where we're feeling like we really want to make sure we are enjoying the money we have. Because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like at this point in my life, I'm understanding the life is way too short and
yeah.
do
I
the
couldn't
things
agree with you
that
more.
make me happy now, right? I know Bill's a youngster, So, but I think he's learned that
But I mean,
lesson as well.
similar concept with my place up here, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I know that with the rate I have, the break even's not necessarily there, but you know what? It pays for the short-term rental when I'm not able to come up here, pays for most of the expenses to it, right? But
Yeah.
then essentially I get to have this place for minimal amount per month and or free,
Yeah.
and that's what you have to look at it, and it's the way to be able to escape, right? And with short-term rentals gives you that ability, right? And then in the future, when or if, right, rates come down, you could always refinance it and lower that break even, right?
Or
And
just
then
move there permanently.
or just
Right.
move there permanently. Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
I do have a quick question because you were talking about COAs, which for everybody on that's watching this, COAs, condo versus homeowner associations, the same concept. Are you guys having issues with COAs getting approved through the lending process to be warrantable?
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing in that Florida market?
So we would, so we'll carve out anything that would be blacklisted by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? There's a
Yeah,
group
yeah,
that have not complied. They've not complied for so long that
yeah.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is blacklisted. We're not talking about those. I don't have many or any of those in my area, but we do know that those exist. Very defined situation, and not applied for 99% of the time. In our situation here, the condos are doing very well. Um, and we have unwarrantable condos, but because we have a lot of condotels in them, so
Yes.
they'll look like a hotel to a lot of lenders, and that sometimes and they have too much, more than 10% ownership inside the condo building,
Mhm.
and so that sends it into an unwarrantable situation. But being able
Yep.
to get those financed in our world by a lender that knows Florida laws does not seem to be any issues whatsoever. I've not had any issues with unwarrantable condos not being able to be financed in the state of
Yep.
Florida. It's just matching, as you would know, Bill, matching the right property with the right
Mhm.
legal constrictions or opportunities with the right lender.
And then are you guys here in Arizona, HOAs have become a little bit of a talking point when it comes to short-term rentals.
Yes.
Are COAs very welcoming the STRs out there? Obviously having a healthy STR business, I'm assuming so, but what are you seeing in that kind of, because they're really pushing towards a lot of 30 plus year, I'm sorry, 30 day plus
Yeah.
rentals. Mhm.
So that historically, we would have all kinds of areas that would be not a development. I'm thinking in my areas, Kelly Plantation, a bedroom community where all of us locals would live, no short-term rentals. Regatta Bay, 800 homes, a bedroom community for Destin people to live in, no short-term rentals. You probably have those all over your place. On the
Mhm.
other hand, everybody that would be within a quarter mile of the beach, uh, no HOA involved. Let's STR, and has
All
always,
over.
yeah,
Gotcha.
always has been. So still, but I would sure every community here is revisiting that. And you see the maps that show,
Hmm.
the different colors of where STRs are allowed, where they're not allowed, where it's 30 days, where it's 6 months. Very well defined. And someone who's been a resident here for 21 years,
Yep.
you know it offhand, right? Oh, no, not.
Hmm.
If you want to get short-term rental income, no, we're not putting you in the 4,000 square foot home in a residential community where everybody lives. On the other hand, if you want to be in the 2,000 square foot house with a pool, one quarter mile from the beach, game on.
And
And
that's
we're
why
gonna
you
put
need the professional.
exactly, and we're gonna put Scott has sent me some slides and stuff that I'm
Hmm.
gonna include in the comments, plus his contact information, because as you can tell in just hearing Scott chat, he knows what he's talking about. He's very well versed in the market where he is, but also just like Scott's just a wealth of knowledge in general. Like he's just super fun to talk to, and he's been a great resource for us. And I love. Are you gonna be in San Antonio, Scott?
You know what? I haven't committed yet, but I think
Oh,
I
come
have.
on, you can do it. So a lot, the reason I know Scott is through BNI. Realtors and cross BNI are very well connected to each other, and we meet up 2 times a year. The next one we're going to be meeting up in August in San Antonio. So I do look to have more of our favorite agents on with us calls, because I think we live in a time now where people are comfortable moving all over, right? Like
That's
people don't
exactly
stay in their
right.
houses 50 years or generations any longer. It's
Yeah.
not like that. And people are moving to wherever makes them happy. And to know and have an educated resource in the area is such a huge asset for you. So call Scott if you have any questions about Destin. He's a wealth of information and he's an educator. He's not a sales guy. He's going to want to let you know the best information and then help you figure out if it makes sense for you or not. So Scott, thank you so much for being
100%.
here today. Greatly appreciate you. Bill,
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
enjoy. Tell the kids and Kristen we said hello. We're glad you guys are enjoying yourself and having them allow you to take some time and be on this call with us today. So we
Anytime.
appreciate you.
Thanks,
No,
guys.
thank you.
Wonderful to know.